I'm Michael Seitz, joined by Alberto Calderon, and this is Cal and Seitz. We got two special guests today, Nick Morbido in the top left, Tom Sipe on the bottom right. You've seen these two before. We got a lot of NFL to talk about today. We're going to talk about Phillip Rivers. We're going to talk about the two games. We're going to talk about our Super Bowl picks. But first, we've got a big UFC fight this weekend. It's Poirier and McGregor 2. We got our resident UFC expert in here, Morbido. But before that, Alberto, how we doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm just chilling. I'm excited for championship Sunday. I'm ready for these two games this weekend. I'm excited.
All right, Tom, how we doing this afternoon?
Excited to be here. Excited for the Bonnie. Excited for the Mets. Excited for everyone.
All right. And Morbido, before you give us the breakdown in this fight, how we doing?
I'm doing great, dude. Super excited to go back to school. Super excited for UFC this weekend. Anytime McGregor fights, it's going to be sick.
All right, so let's get right into it. Morbido, you got some takeaways, some keys to this fight? Because you're the expert here.
So Poirier is coming off some really good wins. McGregor's been out for a while. It's going to be a really, really good fight. I think it's going to be super close. I think if McGregor puts the pressure on and he counters Poirier's strikes, he's going to be able to finish it early. If Poirier can gas Conor out and it goes to later rounds, Poirier might take it. They fought years ago, 8-9 years ago, and Conor crushed him, but that was a long, long time ago. Again, they've developed. Poirier is looking really good. I think if Poirier can last long, it's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a really good fight.
Awesome. Who do you like to win?
I think McGregor's gonna win. I just think he's focused right now. I think he's training like crazy. I think I've seen some of his videos. When McGregor's focused, I really think no one can beat him, honestly. It could be a second round, first round KO. I think it's going to be a really good fight.
All right. I like that. Anybody else have anything to add, Alberto or Tom?
I'm excited. I like this matchup. Like Morbido said, they faced a while ago, almost a decade ago. But, Poirier, he's being Hooker. He's being Gaethje a couple years ago. He's being Max Holloway, I believe, as I was reading an article earlier this morning. I like this fight. I could see this fight, ending in the first round with a McGregor KO, or I could see it going the distance and these guys just having a bloodbath. But I like McGregor in this fight. McGregor he's on a mission right now, and he's looking to make a statement. So I like McGregor.
All right. I don't know enough to comment. Tom, do you?
McGregor by a million. He's going to kick his ass.
All right. So let's move on real quickly. Sad news out of the baseball world this morning. Hank Aaron died at the age of 86. All-time home run king for a long time. 0 steroids, unlike the current home run king, Barry Bonds. Played for the Atlanta Braves, won I think it was 57 World Series, got the MVP there. So that's some sad news there, just newsworthy. Bring it to you here. So let's move on to college basketball real quick. And we got to talk about the Bonnies, fellas. We got to talk about the Bonnies' huge win against VCU. 70-54 was the final. The Bonnies were down 40-25 after the first half. Outscored VCU 45-14 in the second to win 70-54. An impressive explosion in the second half. And I'm going right to you, Tom, because you've been talking about this nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll be perfectly honest. As much as a homer as I might be for the Bonnies, I wasn't really honestly sold on them until that second half on Wednesday night. I mean, it was just an absolute explosion of offense. I give Mark Schmidt a lot of credit. Sometimes I've been pretty hard on him for a lot of different reasons, but I've always thought that, sometimes he might not be the best in-game manager, but I don't know what the hell he said in that locker room at halftime, but it worked. And, they absolutely destroyed VCU. He said in the post-game interview that, at his time at Bonaventure, that was the best half they ever played, both offensively and defensively. And, I mean, he's absolutely right. It was just a dominant performance. And listen, it's not us just talking about our school anymore. We're talking about the leader in the Atlantic 10 who, this conference could send 4 teams to the tournament. So, I'm really excited. They have a few tough games coming up. Really, in the Atlantic 10, if I'm being perfectly honest, there's really no easy games. There's some layoffs. St. Joe's, sometimes you could sneak away with an easy one. But, in all honesty, not even St. Joe's, honestly. I take that back. The A-10 is actually a pretty good conference. So, they're playing well. And the Bonaventure's one loss this year was on the day that Justin Winston transferred and Jaron Holmes played at 89 seconds. So, that's their one loss. So they're looking really good, and I'm really excited. They have a tough stretch coming up, though.
And they still hung around in that game that you mentioned there, Tom.
They did. It was that was like an awful game to watch.
Yes, it was terrible.
But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, they've shown that they can play with anyone. And, I know that their toughest opponent to date probably was VCU. I guess on paper,
maybe.
Richmond. Oh, yes, Richmond as well. So I know they haven't played that top-tier talent because, they didn't really get too many non-conference games. But in all honesty, I do think that, with their 5 starters, with the 5 guys they play all 40 minutes basically, they can play with anyone. And I do believe that at that point. Wednesday showed me that.
And you mentioned before the show, 43 in the net rankings?
43 in the NET rankings, yeah. And I love to see it because, the NET rankings are really the new structure. It's very important to the NCAA tournament process. And in a year like this, probably paying attention to those rankings are really important. So the fact that they're 43 kind of shows that, hey, even if they weren't the number 1 seed in the Atlantic 10 right now, they would still be in the conversation for the tournament. And that's all you can ask for, at the end of January. So, the Atlantic 10 right now, I think bracketology has them as 3 teams in. I think it's going to be 4.
Okay. All right, Alberto, thoughts on the Bonnies, A10, whatever.
That was one of the most explosive second halves I've ever seen. That was crazy. All those lobs. I mean, I wish we were there in the Riley Center experiencing that game.
Would have been crazy.
I wish we were there. And, like to what Tom said, the A10, and we were mentioning this on Tuesday's show, Mike, the A10 deserves more recognition across the nation. They're better than a mid-major level conference. They're not there with, the Big 10 and the Big 12, the SEC, ACC, but they deserve more recognition. They deserve to send 3-4 teams every single year to the national tournament. And I think this is the perfect year where we can send 4 teams, Bonnies, Richmond, St. Louis, and maybe even VCU. But, the Bonnies, they look awesome. The only thing that I worry about is the lack of depth. When you have only 2-3 guys coming off the bench, it's not going to work. But I'm excited right now. They're riding high. I like it.
And that depth seems to be dwindling. I mean, with Winston gone, and now it's looking more likely by the day that Anthony Roberts is gone. That's really tough. Especially, it was a really deep roster at the beginning of the year. So it does kind of make me nervous that not only for Mark Schmidt, but just as the team in general, that they have had a lot of transfers over the last few years, and 2 in seasons kind of rare. So that's not encouraging to see. But I mean, their 5 starters are great.
Yeah, right. Their 5 starters each played 35 minutes or 36 minutes at least in this game against VCU. I mean, we had to, but again, the lack of depth is going to be concerning as the season continues. But I love it right now. I love what I'm seeing.
All right, Morbito.
I'm super excited. If you think about it, 15 points at any level of basketball is really hard to come back from, any level. And for them to do it in a fashion they did, 45 points to 14 is insane. I love how Jalen Adaway is playing right now. He might be my favorite player right now, to be honest. On the baseline, his explosiveness is ridiculous. And again, I agree with Alberto's point. The A10 gets 0 credit for the teams they have. 0. You got teams like Loyola Chicago or Lipscomb or some of these dumb schools in the tournament that shouldn't be there. Bonaventure deserves to be in the tournament. And I think, again, depth is definitely an issue. Like Tom said, the transfers, I don't know the whole story with all that, but I'm not worried. If injuries come up, though, especially later in the year, it's going to be a problem. But for right now, top of the conference, 1 loss. Again, you could argue if Jaron played, they would have won that game too. But it's gonna be a really good year. I'm super excited, and it's fantastic.
Now here's something else to kind of be excited for if you're a Bonaventure fan. if you look at that starting lineup, they kind of are experienced, right? Because it is their third year. But in essence, because of the extra year of eligibility this year, they are all technically redshirt sophomores. So you could get, two more additional years after this one. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen that last year, but that is an exciting
Oh, yeah, wait, they get an extra year because of COVID, right?
Yeah, so that's a really exciting thought that, hey, you could have this year where they might be an at-large team and then have the same starting five for the next 2 years. So that's a really exciting thought. So senior year when we win the national championship, just remember this.
Yeah. that made my day, Tom, right there. I didn't know that. That's really clutch. But, no, I honestly thought VCU kind of jumped all over them, obviously, with the big lead. But they led by 9 or 10 most of that first half. And I said, here we go again, another double-digit to 20-plus point loss to VCU. I turned it off at halftime, and then I turned it on a couple minutes in, and they were making a run. I'm like, oh, look at this. And then there you go. But it's so important that St. Louis starts playing basketball games. It is so important that the Billikens, who are right now ranked 25th in the nation, play Richmond, play Bonaventure, play VCU to not only get themselves quality wins, but possibly get other teams in the A10 quality wins. Because they haven't played, 2.5 months because of COVID? Or, a month and a half because of COVID? Like, they need to figure something out down there because I know the Bonnies were supposed to play them tomorrow, which now they're playing Duquesne, who had a comeback of their own on Wednesday. But St. Louis needs to get healthy and get on the basketball court because it's really hurting them. I know that for sure, but it's hurting everyone around them. So Saturday, we got 4 A10 games, Bonaventure Duquesne, George Mason St. Joe's, LaSalle Richmond, and Dayton VCU, which is always a great matchup. So, all right, let's move it along to the NFL. Let's talk about Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers announced his retirement from the NFL this week after a ton of years with the Chargers and one with the Colts. So now begs the question, is he a Hall of Famer? And I know Alberto has some strong feelings about this. Take it away.
I mean, I don't even know how this is a debate, kind of. I mean, it's been turned into a debate, over the last couple of days since he's retired. I mean, even before he's retired, the question has been, is he a Hall of Famer? And he's not even on the fence for me. It's a flat-out no. If I had a vote, I mean, it's a no. He's never won anything in his life. He's been to maybe the Pro Bowl maybe 5 times or something, but the Pro Bowl doesn't really mean anything. He's never been All-Pro. The one year that there was 1 year where the San Diego Chargers were 14-2, and they fired their head coach after an early playoff exit, Marty Schottenheimer. And that was one of the weirdest, firings over the last 15 years because you had a 14-2 coach who had a quarterback who was, on his way to the Hall of Fame in Phillip Rivers, but then he gets fired. That was questionable to me. And, we could talk about his O-lines over the course of his career. They were very weak, but that doesn't really matter to me. Tom Brady's had some weak offensive lines. Drew Brees has had some weak offensive lines, and they still produce, and they still produce in the playoffs. And that's one of the key factors for me is that Phillip Rivers never showed up in the AFC playoffs. He's been to one conference championship. He got blown out by Tom Brady in that game, I believe. And besides that, he's never really won anything in his life. It's just a flat out no for me. It's a no.
All right, Morbito.
I'm not 100% sure on this topic, to be honest. I don't know all the stats. I know Rivers has been playing for years. I know he has a lot of kids. I'm not really sure. You know what I mean? I could give him the benefit of the doubt. I know he threw for a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I'd have to look at his stats and compare it to like Breeze, Brady, but I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Tom.
If you know me and you know how much of a diehard baseball fan I am, I really intensely pay attention to the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm kind of vocal about how I like to keep it small. Like I like the tight races and I like to keep it small. Yeah. I've kind of noticed in basketball and football that's kind of not how it's been going. Like a lot of players get in both of those leagues. So for the case of Phillip Rivers, if I had to vote, of course, I have to do a little bit more studying, comparing to other people who are already in. But I would probably lean towards yes. This is a guy who, talent-wise, it was always there. I know he never has those wins on the resume, those big wins that you'd like. But, in football, you can only do so much. Obviously, this is not how it turned out, but that he could score 45 points every game and still lose. So, I don't know if I would really – so much blame him for the Chargers never making a Super Bowl and whatnot, because they're not a very well run franchise. As Alberto, you just alluded to, they're not a well ran franchise. This is a guy who played 260 straight games, and he tore an ACL in between that stretch, but still played through it, and came back quickly, and the toughness and grit, and even the talent was always there for him. It's funny, if that Eli trade never happened, he might have been the one that, won a few more Super Bowls and probably even more than two. So I would probably say yes, just because football and basketball seems to let a lot more people in than baseball. And this is a guy who, for the last, 15, however many years, was really good for a really long time.
So I'm going to throw some numbers at everybody here. Rivers, 421 career passing touchdowns. That's 5th in league history. You mentioned his streak of 260 straight starts or whatever that is. That's second only behind Brett Favre. He's got 12 4,000-plus yard passing seasons, and he finished his career with 63,440, 5th most in NFL history. Those numbers alone, I don't care about Super Bowls, I don't care about winning. Those numbers alone are enough for me to put him in the Hall of Fame. Now, that 04 draft class, I think all 3 of those quarterbacks are Hall of Famers. I think Roethlisberger's a no-doubter. I think Manning's a no-doubter. And I think Rivers is going to have to wait maybe 3 or 4 years before he gets in.
Manning's not a no-doubter, but he probably is nowadays. Like, he shouldn't be, but he's going to be.
To me, they're both Roethlisberger and Manning are no doubters. I think Roethlisberger's going in first or second. I think Manning's going to go in second or third. And I think Rivers, like I said, is going to have to wait a little bit. But he'll be in. So, Alberto?
I mean, Eli Manning, he had 2 immaculate playoff runs. 2 immaculate. I mean, and an insane catch that sent him to his first Super Bowl. It's tough. It's tough to put Eli in. And I'm not the biggest Big Ben guy. I'll keep saying this. Somehow that man has 2 Super Bowls. I do not understand how he has 2 Super Bowls. I will never understand that. But Phillip Rivers, he never won a Super Bowl. And, I was looking earlier. He only won 10-plus games over his career, I think 6 times. And he played, 17 years?
Okay.
That's not a lot. It comes down to wins and playoff success for me. We could talk about the regular season all we want, but when you get to the playoffs, you talk about the best coordinators, you talk about the best players, you talk about the best schematical defenses, and he never clutched up. That's just how I look at it. We can talk about the same thing about Marino too, the Dolphins fan over there in Morabito, but he never won a Super Bowl, but he was that quarterback. Those guys did not come up clutch in the playoffs. Marino was a little bit better a lot better than Rivers, a lot. Mm-hmm. But I just don't see Rivers. I don't see him getting into the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't put him in.
Okay. All right, let's move into the NFL playoff discussion here. So we'll start NFC Championship game Sunday, 3:05 on Fox. The Green Bay Packers are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Alberto predicted this one right. 3.5 point favorites are the Green Bay Packers, and we're going to start with you, Alberto. What do you think?
I like Green Bay to cover in this one. I'll be rooting for Brady and the Buccaneers in this one. I want to see Brady in another Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is just better. So the Super Bowl is just better with Brady in it. So I want to see that.
No, gross. You're a Jets fan too.
Yeah, but I respect Tom Brady and I respect his game.
I don't respect cheaters.
I like Green Bay in this one. I like Green Bay covering. If the Tampa Bay defense can duplicate the performance they did last week against New Orleans, they'll win this game, but that's not going to happen. Rodgers is not going to turn the ball over 3 times, let alone maybe even once. I like Green Bay maybe by 10 in this game. I think Green Bay is just going to be too explosive. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball all around the field, beat up that secondary. So I like Green Bay 30 to 14.
And unfortunately, I could not agree with you more. The Packers are going to roll in this game. I think it's going to be close to start, and then they're going to pull away in the second half. They should cover that 3.5 pretty easily. Rodgers won't turn the ball over. That defense is not having another sparkling game like they did against the Saints. I think this is a pretty easy pick for me, even though Tom Brady is used to playing in the cold. Still, Lambeau's a different type of cold. Morbito.
I love this matchup. I mean, you can't get better than Brady versus Rodgers, to be honest. There really isn't a better storyline. I think it was interesting. Didn't the Bucks give the Packers a hard time week 6?
The Packers got up 10-0, and then the Bucks rattled off like 38.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good matchup, but I agree with you guys. I think Packers are a lock. They're super hot right now. I think Rodgers is hungry. I think they're going back to the Super Bowl. I'm excited.
All right, Tom.
I don't think this one's going to be very close. I think Green Bay's going to kind of blow them out. I think it'll be close early, but Bucks just don't have enough offense. Antonio Brown's out on Sunday. I don't think that they'll have enough. Honestly, I really don't know who I want to win this game. If the Chiefs win, I want the Packers. If the Bills win, I want the Bucks, even though I know the Packers game is first. But if the Bills win, I want it to be a Bucks for Brady Bills. Like, that'd be sick.
That'd be cool.
But, yeah, I don't foresee this one being close whatsoever.
All right, so that's 4 Green Bay Packer picks. Let's go to the AFC Championship game in Kansas City. Kansas City is 3-point favorites. Tom, the closet Buffalo fan, well, not anymore. He's on the bandwagon fully.
Oh, yeah.
We'll start with you, and then we're going to go to Alberto, and then we're probably going to go back to you about Josh Allen on adversity, and then we're probably going to go back to Alberto. But we'll start with you, Tom.
Okay, great. So I'll tell you why the Buffalo Bills are going to win this Sunday. I mean, listen, I think what they showed on Saturday, and in all honesty, Saturday's matchup is a lot tougher for the Bills than it is on this upcoming Sunday. Their game against the Ravens was a tougher matchup, and they were able to stop the run game. Everyone was telling me that they weren't going to be able to stop the run game. Oh, the run defense hasn't been here this year. Baltimore Ravens put up 3 points. Listen, they got a little lucky with a few Justin Tucker misses.
Well, I think that was more win than anything.
Yeah, the Bills missed one too. So, but there you go. Yes, that's correct. I'm sorry. Ravens scored 3 points. No touchdowns. They got in the red zone once, and that's when Lamar threw the pick six. Listen, the Bills' defense is here, and the Bills' offense is going to outshine Patrick Mahomes on Sunday. Because listen, Patrick Mahomes, let's admit it, guys, he's not going to be fully healthy on Sunday. It's just the reality. He's not going to be fully healthy. This team, who kind of low key kind of struggled against Cleveland offensively. They came out on a hot start, but in that second, of course, once Mahomes went down, it was a little different story. But, in that second quarter, third quarter, it was a little bit downhill. And, the Browns kind of made a late surge. And, listen, I think this is going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm so excited to see it. And I really hope that – listen, as an NFL fan, I hope Mahomes is fully healthy because I think it'll just make for that much better of a game. And I do see Buffalo pulling this one out. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I'm so excited.
All right, Alberto.
So, I like the Chiefs in this game. I'm just gonna say that right there. But the reason why is because the Chiefs have been here before. The Chiefs, I haven't been high on them the entire season. They haven't won by more than one possession in over 3 months. Probably, they haven't won probably since October by more than one possession. But this team, they won a Super Bowl and they can flip the switch. And they flipped the switch last game against Cleveland in the first half. If Mahomes didn't get injured in that game, Kansas City was going to roll over them. What was the score when Mahomes went down?
I didn't disagree. I said, I don't know if they'd roll over them.
They would win by more than they did. Yeah, I don't know about rolling over them because I don't trust that Kansas City defense to just completely shut down the Browns.
Before I abuse what you just said, but keep going.
So let's talk about this matchup with the Bills. You know, the Bills, I was impressed defensively. I really was. I was completely wrong when I said that Lamar was going to roll all over them. I'll admit that. I was wrong.
Yep.
But Josh Allen didn't really have to do much in that game.
Exactly.
He didn't have to do much. And, you know, he took a week off, basically, but he commanded the offense. He commanded it. He looked like a floor general there, and I like the way that he played. I'm still not high on him going into this game against Kansas City. Listen, the Kansas City defense is good enough to stop this Buffalo defense. Buffalo offense, excuse me. I don't see the Bills winning this game. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be close. It's going to be 31-28, I think, Kansas City. And, you know, Josh Allen, he's going to have to put together a drive late in the fourth quarter to win the game or to tie the game or to do something.
Didn't you say this the last 2 weeks? Didn't you say this the last 2 weeks, the same thing about Josh Allen having to put together a drive?
He's gonna have to against this Kansas City defense.
Okay.
He's going to. I don't think he's gonna get the job done. I like Kansas City in this game. They've been here. They know how to win this game. They know how to win this type of game, stopping anybody. So I like Kansas City by 3 in this one, pushing 31-28.
Okay. Morbito, before we get to Tom, Morbito.
I think it's going to be a super close game, but I might have to go with the Bills. As much as it pains me to say it as a Dolphins fan, and as much as I dislike the Bills, I think they're just on fire. I mean, that pick 6 was insane. And like Tom said, their defense did show up. I had my doubts, but they completely played fantastic. Again, though, I'm on Alberto's side, too, with the Josh Allen questions. You know, he didn't have to do much, but it's going to be a super close game. I think maybe Bills by 3, maybe. Again, I agree with Alberto, too, super close. But I just feel like God's on the Bills' side. I feel like it's almost destiny that they win this game. And again, with Mahomes, with what Tom said about Mahomes, him not being fully healthy, him not being all there, it will affect the game, obviously, but the Bills are just on fire. They're like the Packers. You just can't see them losing, and especially with that defense. If that defense can play well, I think it's over. It's going to be super close, though. And as much as it pains me to say it, I think the Bills might take this one. I don't know.
Okay, so wait, Tom, right before we go to you, let me go real quick. Okay, so I just want to put it out there. I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't necessarily like the Kansas City Chiefs, but I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't want Buffalo to win. That being said, I don't care if Patrick Mahomes plays. I don't care if Chad Henne plays. The Kansas City Chiefs aren't winning. They aren't. They're not – I don't want to say not good enough. They're not the hot team. They're not impressing anybody with these wins. The Bills are on absolute fire. I think Josh Allen's going to have a really good day against the Kansas City defense. And I don't think the Kansas City defense can stop the Buffalo offense on a consistent enough level. And Buffalo's going to do to Kansas City what Kansas City's been doing to everybody else for the last, 2.5 years. And that is roll on offense and get that stop when necessary on defense. And I've got Green Bay Buffalo Super Bowl, as I've been saying this entire time. It's Tom.
As do I. So, Alberto, when you said, I thought I made this a point last week, when you say, oh, the Chiefs, they're just going to turn it on. They've been here before. Well, Brady was in the Super Bowl 9 times. Why didn't he win it 9 times? How did he lose to the Giants and the Eagles? He was there. He's been there. How many AFC Championships games was he in? He was there. He's been there. Belichick, he's been there. How'd they ever lose? How'd they lose to the Titans last year? They've been there. They've been there. Just because they've been there doesn't mean that they're going to win every single time. And I understand that's not exactly what you're saying, but listen, the Chiefs, again, kind of what Mike just said, they've played in so many tough games. They haven't really been impressing anyone in these wins. I don't really care if it's Mahomes or Henne as much as I want it to be Mahomes. I think this offense, the Buffalo Bills offense, is going to outpower the Kansas City in general because, listen, I understand that Josh Allen didn't have to do much. It was 32 degrees and kind of snowing in Buffalo that day. It was a very cold day, and that's why I was so nervous that it was going to be Baltimore because they had the advantage of running the ball. They had the advantage, they had the advantage of running the ball because Buffalo really can't. And That's all Baltimore does. So, and still with those implications, the Bills still won by 10. So, listen, at the end of the day, or excuse me, by my math, yeah, whatever it was. Listen, just because the Chiefs have been there, just because Andy Reid has been to the playoffs 50,000 times, and Mahomes, he's won a Super Bowl, he's one of the greatest of all time in his fourth year, third year, whatever the hell he's in, that doesn't mean that they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills. When it comes to playoffs, I don't care what the sport is, you have to go with the hot team. And it feels like the Bills have been hot since their loss against Kansas City early this October.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I agree with you there. Just because, they've been there before doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win. I agree with you there. But, Kansas City, they know what's coming against Buffalo. And that means pass. Yeah. The Buffalo run game is non-existent. They don't even have one. So if you take that out of the equation and Josh Allen's going to throw the ball 45, 50 times, I'd like my bet with Kansas City if you know what's coming. I really do like it. If you match up the right corner with Stephon Diggs and you limit him and you limit his production, who else?
They don't have that corner.
Asking for a lot.
The Ravens had those corners. They didn't do anything.
Exactly.
Ravens did have those corners.
I would take the Ravens defense.
You know what I mean? Stephon Diggs was all over them. They couldn't guard him. So I don't know. I don't know about the Chiefs secondary though. So I'm not.
It's not good.
It's not good. Okay. Well,
I would take the Ravens defense over Kansas City probably any day of the week. And listen, and Josh Allen, I know they only put up 10 offensive points, but they did get Tyler Bass, who had been really good. And obviously it was, weather implications played into it because Tucker missed too. So if Justin Tucker's missing too, then it's not just him. They had the opportunity for 16. So it's not like they weren't scoring against a very good defense. So I don't know. I'm really not that concerned. Of course they know what's coming, as do the Bills. Actually the Bills really don't know what's coming because we don't know who the freaking quarterback is. It's going to be Mahomes. But I'm not concerned. Bills have done it all year. Every game, 18 games that the Bills have played this year, they know they're going to throw. They know they're pass first. They know it's all Allen. And I guess who else besides Tennessee? I guess maybe Kansas City the first time, maybe, who really stopped them. There wasn't really any of it.
All right. And anything else, Alberto?
No. I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you know what's coming. Stop it. Let's go.
Okay. Alberto's got Packers Chiefs. That's the matchup I'll be rooting for. But the three of us, Nick, Tom, and myself, have Green Bay and Buffalo, arguably the two hottest teams in the NFL, which should make for a fantastic Super Bowl either way, no matter which four teams combination is in. So we're pretty much out of time here. I just want to ask one more question. We've got Penguins Rangers. We got them tonight, and we got them on Sunday in Pittsburgh. Next two games, Alberto. We splitting? Who's taking them?
We're taking both.
You're taking both? Okay. Next, Tom.
We'll lose tonight. Rangers win Sunday.
All right. Morbito, you got a pick for us?
I think they split it. Penguins are good at home, but they'll split it, I think. I agree with Tom.
Penguins have been pretty bad, though, recently. I mean,
Penguins
have
defensive issues, but I agree with the split. Rangers haven't been good themselves, but the Penguins are missing 3 defensemen right now. So
3 games. It's been 3
and
games.
their defense is a sore spot. So I've got
Rangers are so bad.
Possibly, each team gets 3 points. Might see a couple more overtime games.
Okay.
So, all right, that's all time we have for tonight. Just a reminder, on Tuesday, we're back on the buzz, me and Alberto. We'll have that link somewhere on the channel, under the video, something like that. But Fridays, we are still on here. We'll let you guys know more details. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on Tuesday or Friday.